r/datingoverthirty. Jabrady says 33 meters. Profile review / dating advice request. 1 year progression. Edit. Details removed. Thanks all. Cecil Pollard says, I think my profile works well at getting dates with women I'm interested in, but I'm having difficult drawing them in after the 2/3 date stage. If you aren't having issues getting dates, then it's not an issue with your profile. This might have to do more with your life, career, background, what actually goes on during the date, etc. Can you perhaps provide more information on how the first dates go? Where do you take them? Do you bring anything on the date? Flowers, chocolates, etc. How comfortable are you talking to them? I also noticed that you list hours lead at financial services, but then you show a chef's uniform as your uniform. Are you in hours, or are you a chef? Franca Grimes says, exactly. It's nothing to do with the profile. If they are losing interest after 2 or 3 dates, that's when you're getting to know someone's personality and values. So those are the things to focus on. Sailor_marzipan says, I think norms in your country are a little different, but if you were in the US, I'd recommend cutting down on the images, they can read as juvenile. If you're getting enough dates though, doubt your profile is the issue. Might just need to retool your approach a bit. Without knowing you, or being on the date, my first suggestion would be to self-evaluate whether you're really and truly talking for 50% of the time, and practicing deep listening. One of the guys I went out on a date with a while ago who was out of a long-term relationship and didn't have much recent dating experience essentially treated me to a 2-hour running monologue and had no idea he was even doing it. I doubt you're that bad if you're getting to date 2, but still something to consider, whether you're treating dates as a meeting of minds or a job interview where you need to impress them. In all honesty, I think the issue is either A, dating is hard in your 30s, B, not realizing how you're coming across to a stranger, B, C, you've been out of the game a while, so I'd focus on that instead of the profile. Catfish Chapter says, you have no problems getting matches, but it's after the dates that's when they trail off or become distant? Honestly, your profile is awesome. How you described your personality is exactly what I see in your profile. Handsome, genuine and wholesome. Lingonda Small 9854 says, your dating profile is very detailed, your pics are wonderful, and if you lived in the US, I would have swiped right on you immediately. I can see why you have no problems getting matches. If it's not progressing to the 2nd or 3rd date, I wonder if it's the topics that are discussed during the date that can turn the women off. I'm not sure. What do you usually do when you go on a date with someone? r/datingoverthirty. Godolphin Arabian says, how often do you check the dating apps? What is your availability for dates like? I'm a woman without kids, recently started old for the first time. I only check the app or apps roughly once a day. Notifications are turned off. Sometimes I will check more often if a conversation is really going, but that doesn't happen too often. I find the apps hugely interrupting, especially for people I don't really know yet. I can't tell if men think I'm blowing them off because I don't respond right away. At the same time, when I've been quicker to respond, a lot of men are crickets and don't reply. I unmatch if they haven't responded for about 5 days. Am I not following some unwritten rules for communication on the apps? Another frustration is that I get asked out, they ask my availability, and I give them a day or two that I'm free, usually about 3 days away. Then they ghost. Or they say they're not available then, but are open next week, so I give them a couple more days the following week. And then they ghost. Do most women say they're open all week? Are they trying to get on a date the same night or next day? I can't tell if I'm being too available or not available enough. Kira Consider says, generally I do have notifications on, and I'll check throughout the day, but only get involved in deep conversations in the evening. I'm not skipping my hobbies for a date. I figure if we'll be in a long-term relationship we'll have to get used to planning dates around them anyways. So every Tuesday Thursday is out, but I'm pretty accommodating otherwise. Fingers crossed it doesn't cause issues. Miss_might says, I'll check every 1 or 2 days. Depends if I have a good conversation going or not. My notifications are off too. I don't like how the apps try to suck you in. If I think they're cool, we'll go to another app that I use more frequently. Violet Memphis Blue says, I check my phone first thing in the morning, on my lunch break, and in the evening. I try to have a few hours in the evening, not on my phone too, reading, baking, going for a walk, etc. as I'm at a desk most of the workday, and try to have good stretches of no screen time. I don't turn notifications off, but my whole phone is set to silent. I'm sure some people have wished I was a more instant messenger. I know friends and family have said it about texting, haha, but I reply when I can. I also set dates when I'm available. I don't alter existing plans for a first date, and it would probably be a few dates in before I'd really consider it. Luckily, most everyone I've been out with is mature enough to understand schedules and don't push for anything. And I do the same for them, but yeah, just be available on your terms. If you're not comfortable being available all day, every day, don't be. We're all adults. People are generally aware that there is more going on in life than old. C Tangle says, I mostly ignore the apps throughout the day and then check them if I remember at night or sometimes in the morning before work. I also just find it too distracting. I feel like I'm an outlier because almost everyone I've chatted to has been pretty quick to reply. For me, the casual texting takes a lot of energy, autism, and I would rather do as little of that as possible. Anytime I've made an overt effort to change my communication style or my schedule, I've regretted the wasted effort. It's just not worth doing for a virtual stranger who I might never talk to again. Obviously, it's different if we've met in person and I like the person. r/datingoverthirty. TrueColors110 says, parents getting involved. I have a strange dilemma that I don't know how to handle. Like many of us, this is not my first rodeo. I've been married, divorced, and in the dating world for a minute. I thought I knew what was appropriate as far as parental involvement, but am trying to decide if I have stumbled upon a red flag. I 36 female, have been exclusive with my boyfriend 33 male, for 7 months, dating for 8. We recently have been discussing the future, and he brought up moving in together. It was a very low pressure subject. He is currently renting a part of a friend's house without a lease, and I own my home, so there are no time constraints. I told him I wasn't ready, but that I would like to discuss it again in January, after the holidays, to kind of see where we are at then, and he was totally fine with that. His mother invited me to a craft workshop this last weekend. We've been planning to go for a while. I thought it was just a chance to get to know one another and make giant cuddly blankets. But she kind of surprised me on the drive home with advice, basically letting me know she had heard about our discussion. She said several times she didn't want us moving in together to be the reason we broke up, brought up our opposite schedules being an issue, and told me she thought that he should come stay at my house for a week to see how it feels. Basically that she didn't approve and doesn't want us to move in. But we aren't moving in. I told my boyfriend about the conversation, and I clarified with my boyfriend, and he said he told her the same thing. He also said she tries to outthink me but she can't. Apparently Head told her we were thinking about moving in, and she started listing all the reasons it wouldn't work. He works nights. I work days. We kind of moved on to another subject when he said I feel like she's being the typical mom and doesn't want me to move away. We live in the same metro. He would be moving 25 minutes from her house. Is this something I should worry about? Our work situation isn't going to change. We both like our jobs, and him not moving out of my 2.1% interest, double what it was worth when I bought in 2015 home, to move 25 minutes north in essentially the same city. I have dealt with a little overbearing mother-in-law, and while it was uncomfortable, my ex-husband always stood up for me first, so it was fine. It seems like this guy is willing to do that as well, but it's so early for this to have cropped up already. I don't know if I'm overthinking this. I don't have any family, so it's hard for me to gauge if this is normal. Eddie. Nayfast says, my husband got his parents too involved in our relationship. It really bothered me. It made me feel like the relationship was not just between me and my husband, but like some weird incestuous poly relationship that included his family as well. I'm fine with someone who is close to their parents and who might talk about some aspects of the relationship with them, but I wouldn't be okay with something like this. Your BF's mom can have an opinion, but she shouldn't have talked to you about it like she did. Her kid is an adult, and it's up to him to make his own decisions and mistakes. She shouldn't be telling either of you don't do this or that because of this. Infinite_donut 773 says, overbearing parent-in-laws are a tough one. I think it ultimately depends on you and your boyfriend. Your boyfriend should definitely stand with you, or at least understand your position. But you should also stand up for yourself. I'm not sure I'd let overbearing parent-in-laws be the decision-making factor for a potential long-term relationship. It might be a red flag for me if the guy I date only listens to his parents or whatnot. But if he's independent, respectful of them and me, and values both ends, I see nothing wrong with it. It's not ideal, but again, you won't find a perfect partner with perfect parent-in-laws. It comes down to how you two work together to handle it. Good luck. Motherfrick, Inwify says, your op makes it sound like mom invited you out to corner you and convince you not to move in together. Absent the context I'd get from body language, tone of voice, previous experiences, etc. I don't understand what was overbearing on her part. It sounded like a normal, awkward getting to know the parents conversation to me. Where is this talk about selling your house coming from? 000 Theme 000 says, apart from a red flag, this is a turn off in a very real way. The guy needs therapy to get unmeshed from his clearly narcissistic mother, or you'll end up in a relationship with him and his mother whispering in his ear. Classic. Pancake_tornado says, hopefully I don't come across as trying to psychoanalyze the whole situation, but there were some things mentioned that certainly seemed noteworthy, particularly regarding his mother's behavior and his perception of his mom's unsolicited opinions. Especially when he says, she tries to outthink me but she can't. The dynamic of interjection she seems to have in her son's life is reminiscent of what Freud refers to as the devouring mother. Now, I'm fully willing to admit that I only know what's been posted, so I'm certainly missing a lot of context on your BF's relationship with his mom. But based on what I've read at least, it seems as though his mother is willing to devour certain aspects of her own son for the sake of not having to give up her own enjoyment in motherhood. It's good to hear that your boyfriend seems to be willing to stand up to his mother on this. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.